So today I'll discuss about the basics of Python, right? Starting with Python software foundation, Python versions, Python installations, execution modes, right? Yes. Something about, before I go with the Python versions and installation, something about this Python software foundation, PSF, right? Python, Python software foundation, right? Python software foundation, PSF, right? Okay. It is a non-profit organization, right? Non-profit organization devoted towards Python community, right? Okay. It is a non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. PSF. It was launched in the year. It was almost 20 years ago. In the year 2001, it was launched in the year 2001, right? PSF. The main objective of this PSF means to faster or to improve that faster the development of Python version to version, right? To faster the development. Faster the development of Python. In the year 2004, PSF, Python Software Foundation, PSF received Computer World Horizon Award, right? It received Computer World, okay. Computer World Horizon Award. The president for this PSF, the same personality who developed Python, Guido van Rossum. He is the personality who introduced Python, developed Guido van Rossum, right? Is the president, is the same is the president for this PSF. Headquarters, where are the headquarters located, right? Delaware, USA. USA, right? Yes. Official website, right? Official website for Python, this PSF, right? Python.org. Python.org is the official website of this Python, from where we are going to download Python and we are going to install Python from this. And we can see the documentation for each and every Python release in this python.org, the official website for Python. And before I go with the installation, right, Python version, right, Python versions. We have got like Python 1.x, see Python 1.x almost was released in the year 1990, right? Python 2.x. 2.x means 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, right? The first two versions released in the year 2000. The version that we are using currently is 3 version, Python 3.x. The first 3 version was released in the year 2008. Latest version of Python, observe this. Latest version of Python. Latest version of Python, right? Okay. Python 3.10 is the latest version. Stable version of Python. Stable version of Python, right? Yes. Python 3.7. Stable version, nothing but mostly used version. Mostly used version, right? Okay, previous stable version. Previous stable version, right? Yes. Python 2.7, right? Yes. Python 2.7. Okay. The version we are using currently is 3.10, latest version, right? 3.10. So now Python installation. So if you want, you can parallelly do the installation along with me, or you can just check these steps, right? Python installation. So before I install Python, right? Before I install Python, 1 second. Go to settings, apps. First, let me uninstall Python from the system, right? Once again, I'll show you step by step. Python 3.10, 3.10 version, right? Yes, uninstall, just okay. Uninstallation in progress, right? So installing Python in your system, Python, right? So Python is providing different softwares for different domains, right? Different environments, right? For Mac OS, for Linux, for Windows, everything is going to provide different software. Within the Windows 10, right? For example, if it is like Windows 32-bit separate software we are supposed to provide, that we need to download. Windows 64-bit separate software for Python. Python providing different softwares for different environments. 32-bit Windows, right? You need to download 32-bit Python software. 64-bit for 64-bit Python. Well, like if you have got your Windows is 64 bits, download Python 64-bit. How will you check whether your system is a 32-bit or 64-bit, right? How can you check whether your Windows is a 32-bit or 64-bit? Okay, so uninstallation was successful. Just to check whether your Windows is a 32-bit or 64-bit, go to your desktop once. Right click your PC or computer, right click your PC or computer, save properties. System type 64-bit operating system, right? 64-bit. If it is showing 32-bit here, we are supposed to download 32-bit Python software. 64-bit, 64, right? Yes. Okay. Now, which is the official website of Python? Just let me open this Chrome, right? The official website of Python, right? Python.org. www.python.org, right? This is the official website of Python, right? From where you can download Python and you can see the documentation for every Python release. Just click it. Python.org. This is the official website of Python. Can you see here? Python, the first one. PSF, Python Software Foundation. Documentation for Python. Okay. Within this, you can see this downloads folder, right? Downloads all releases. Downloads all releases. Check this all releases. Downloads all releases and just scroll down. Scroll down, right? You can see active Python releases. Active Python releases. Don't go for active Python release. Go for looking for a specific release. Looking for a specific release, right? If you observe from the last 20 years, what all the Python versions are introduced, right? Everything you can see here from the last 20 years, right? All the Python versions. Python 2.0, June 22, 2001. Python 3.10.2, right? 3.10.2, January 14, 2022. Almost like 2 months ago it was released, right? 10.3.10.2. Just click that 3.10.2. Okay, 3.10.2 gets open. Now just scroll down. Just scroll down, right? Just and come down, like files. 32-bit and 64-bit. Windows 32-bit and 64. Both you are able to see, right? Both 32-bit and 64-bit, right? Windows 64-bit. If it is 64-bit Windows, select 64-bit or 32-bit, right? Accordingly, just click this Windows installer 64-bit. Your download is going to start. Just 26 MB of size, right? 26.9 MB of size. Yes. So here 26 MB Python software size is just of 26 MB. You are not going to see all the thousands of Python modules along with this software, right? If your all the 89,300 modules are included in the Python software, its size won't be like 26 MB, right? Only like commonly used modules are specified within this software. So the modules like database related modules, data science related modules, the other modules, right? There is the external modules. We are supposed to download and install it separately. Just it takes hardly 1 minute, right? We are supposed to download and install it. Later I discuss separately how to download and install any other module like external modules, right? So download completed. The download is finished. Just click this downloadable file. Yes. So you can go to this python.org. Within this downloads folder, release. You can see the files, Python files, right? You can see for Mac OS, for Windows 32-bit, 64-bit, right? Just click this downloaded file or exe file, right? Yes, click it. Don't go for, okay, don't immediately go for installation. At the bottom, you can see add Python 3.10 to path. Add Python 3.10 to path, right? Select it. You are adding this Python 3.10 to path variable, right? Yes. Go for customize installation. What it is going, nothing to select in this, right? So already everything is selected, right? Documentation, pip. Ideally, documentation for Python, pip. Just now I was saying, right? Pip is a component which is going to install any module in Python, which is not available in the Python software. Later I discuss about that. Okay. Ideally, where we write the Python statements and execute it, right? Yes. Next, just say next. Here also nothing to select, but it is asking for the installation location. Installation location means like see users app data. See where it is getting installed in C users del app data local programs Python 310, right? It is getting installed in some subdirectories. Tomorrow, if you want to locate Python, right, in your system, it will be too difficult, right, if you are installing in many subdirectories. So just remove everything, just remove all this. Just install Python in the C drive. That's it. Just to see Python 310. 310 means 3.10. Okay. Just install Python within the C drive. That's it. Say and install. Just hardly takes 1 minute for the installation, right? Yes.
Hello.
Okay, once it gets installed, let us check whether it is successfully installed or not, right? Yes. Okay, installation is finished, right? Now at the bottom search panel, right, just type cmd to go to the command prompt and enter into the command prompt, right? Press enter. Just type Python here, just type Python, that's enough. If you type Python version to be displayed first, the version that what we have installed, and interpreter should be open. Python interpreter should be open. Enter. Python 3.10. This is the version that we have installed, right? And this three arrow symbol where we can write any valid Python statements and interact with it. Interactive mode, right? I was saying Python supports interactive mode, right? Any valid Python statements. 4 plus 2, 5 into 7. No need of x equal to Ajay, y equal to Kumar. Any valid Python statements. Y equal to Kumar. Kumar, right, with double quotes, right? We need to close it. What is x plus y? Ajay Kumar, right? In this way, no need to specify the data types here in Python. Dynamic data type supported in Python, right? We'll discuss it in brief later in data types concept, right? Fine. So your Python is working fine. You can interact and you can work with it, right? In interactive mode. Quit to come out of this, say quit. Okay. Python versions, Python. So if anyone working in the Linux environment, right? If you want to execute within this Python in Linux environment, already Python will be inbuilt, right? This is your Linux terminal. Assume it's your Linux terminal. Just to say Python, your Python interpreter gets opened in this way. You can validate, type any valid Python statements and execute it. But here it will be open in Python 2 version by default. Just type Python 3 here. It opens in 3 version in Linux. If your Linux is an old Linux, right? If it is, then your Python will be also old one, right? And work with any version of Python. Just say Python 3. Python 3 version gets open in the Linux environment. Yes. If you have got 32-bit Windows, just download 32-bit. Okay, everything remains same. Later, once you install, right, everything works same. Okay. And if you want in Linux, if you want the latest version of Python to be installed, if your Linux is an old Linux, then you should have seen old, that is old version of Python in that latest version of Python to install in this Linux, right? The command to install Python within the Linux environment, apt-get install, right? Python 3.10. If 3.10 available, you can just go with 3.10. Otherwise, install 3.9, right? Yes. Everything you are supposed to perform these operations to root user, right? So in that case, you need to say sudo, right? pt here. Okay. Python installation, right? Yes. Next, Python execution modes. Python execution modes, right? Yes. Okay, 1 second. Python execution modes. Two modes of executions, right? Two modes of execution. Two modes of execution, right? interactive mode and batch mode, interactive mode and batch mode. Two modes of execution, interactive mode and batch mode. Interactive mode means here we directly type Python statements. We directly, just now I showed you, right? We directly type Python statements. We directly type Python statements on the interpreter and the user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. Okay, we can easily interact with Python statement by statement. Okay. The advantage of interactive mode, the advantage of what advantage you can see in the interactive mode means to check the functionalities of Python means if you doesn't have knowledge about any particular functionality, you can check it right by typing in this interactive mode what output, what response it is going to provide. And for the beginners and learners, it works better, right? Interactive mode to test advantages, to test the functionalities. To test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python, right? And to learn Python. Okay. Next is like batch mode, but this interactive mode, right? For developing Python applications, we won't use interactive mode for development of Python applications, right? For that, we go for batch mode. Interactive mode only for testing or for developing code or for testing and for learning Python. Batch mode. Here we write set of statements, batch of statements, just as you do in C language or Java, like writing statements and saving it as .c, and in Java like .java. Here in Python, we say .py, right? Extension. Here we write batch of statements or set of statements. Here we write batch of statements within the editors or IDEs. Editors or IDEs, integrated development environment. IDEs means in real time we use IDEs, right? So I'll just demonstrate and I'll just show you that the process, how to download and how to install various IDEs of Python. Here we write back and save it by using the yeah, Shada. Yes, I'll come back to that. What are the IDs and what is the advantage of IDs, right? I'll come back to that, right? 1 second. Okay. So what are the various editors and what are the various IDs? Now I'm listing out the various editors and various IDs. Various editors where we can write the Python code and create a .py file using the editors. What are the various editors? Like a notepad, within the notepad you can create a .python file, right? .py file within edit plus. These two are for Windows. For Linux, vi editor, nano editor, right? Using that we can create a Python file. What are the various IDEs, right? Various IDEs. Integrated development environment, various IDEs. We have got various IDEs, right? For Python supporting PyCharm ID, right? PyDev, Komodo, Spider, PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider ID, right? Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter Notebook, right? So I'll be discussing Anaconda distribution, Anaconda prompt and navigator, right? Where we can write this, where we can execute working with this IDs, right? Okay. Apart from this, we use like Atom ID, Atom, VS Code. You may ask why these many IDs, right? Why these many IDs for Python? Mostly used ID among all this is PyCharm is the mostly used one, right? Mostly used. PyCharm is the mostly used ID. So I said like Python, most Python, we have got many applications of Python, right? Python widely used in different environments, like in automation applications and data science applications, big data, in embedded applications, desktop applications, GUI applications, animation applications, gaming applications, right? So for different environments, different IDs are preferred. For different environments, different IDs are preferred, right? For example, for data science environment, right? Okay, Jupyter Notebook is mostly preferred. Spider ID is preferred, right? Even for big data, Spider is mostly preferred. And for typical web applications creations using Python, PyCharm is mostly preferred. Even VS Code is preferred. Atom is preferred. So different depending upon different environments, to which environment you want to use Python. For plottings, visualizations, for data analysis, right? We go for Jupyter Notebook, right? For web applications creations, we go for PyCharm, VS Code, Atom, right? Yes. I'll just show you how to download and how to install those IDs later. Once we are done with a little bit of technical content, I'll show you that installation process step by step, how to download, how to install, and how to execute on this right now. Developing the first Python application. Using editor, using editor, right? Yes. So as of now, we didn't discuss anything of this Python basics, right? Like the data types or variables, operators, anything. We didn't discuss anything, right? Just what I do is I'll take two values and perform some kind of arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? Just I'm taking two values. Just open Notepad, right? See, first using editor, example of the editor, take the example as Notepad. Open Notepad and type the following Python statements. I'm taking two values, right? X as 10, Y as 20. Print X plus Y, addition, subtraction. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Just what I do, I'll copy this to a separate notepad file. Notepad, right? Yes, Control V, right? Save it, file, save. Okay, in the last class, I created a separate folder for this batch. I'm saving within the same folder, right? So just save it as sample.py, right? Sample.py or sample1.py, right? Yes. Any name .py extension, right? Save as sample1.py. And now submit this file to Python. Go to the command prompt. Yes, just go to the command prompt, right? Yes. At the bottom search panel, you can say CMD to enter to the command prompt, right? After entering to the command prompt, just type Python here. Just type Python and don't say enter. If you say enter, it will go to the interactive mode of Python. Submit where your file is available. Within the C drive, Python 7 a.m. batch, that is the folder. Python C drive, Python 7 a.m. batch, right? Sample1.py. Just give the path where, what is the file name, in which folder it is available, in which drive it is available. The drive name, the folder name, and the file name, right? Submit to Python, say enter, right? 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20, right? Yes. Observe this outputs, 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20, right? In this way, you are just going to submit the file to Python. Okay, understood, right, everyone? Any queries in this? But here, what is your observation here, right? You are writing this code within this notepad, you are executing at the command prompt. But here, we are writing the code at one place within the notepad, right? You're writing the code at one place within the notepad. Observe this output, right? 1 second. Yes, we can convert. Yes, we can convert a Sada. We are writing a typecasting, right? Typecasting, I'll discuss that. we are writing the code at one place within the notepad and executing at the other place and executing the code at the other place, right? Yes, within the command prompt, right? Yes. And executing the code at the other place, that is within the command prompt. But to write and execute at the same place, to write and execute the code at the same place. We have IDLE, integrated development environment, right? Integrated development learning environment. So where you can see this IDLE, which comes along with Python installation. Which comes along with Python installation, using which we can work with both interactive and batch modes. So here, what is that? You are writing that code within the notepad, but you are executing at the command prompt. But I want to write that at the same place and execute at the same place. We have IDLE, which comes along with Python installation, using which we can work with both interactive and batch modes. So how to open this IDLE, right? How to open this IDLE and how to write the Python code and executing that code, right? Just this is my code. Adding two values, taking two values and perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, performing some kind of arithmetic operations. So just to go to the start programs where your Python is installed. Go to the start programs and check where your Python is available here. Python 3.10, Python 3.10, just click that Python 3.10. The first thing what we see here, IDLE, first thing is IDLE, click it, integrated development learning environment, right? You will get this, Python shell gets open, right? Python shell gets open in this way. 3.10 version, this is the three arrowed symbol where you can work with interactive mode. Any valid Python statements you can type and check, it gives the response. X has 10, x minus 2, x into 2, x to the power of 2. In this way, any valid statements you can type and interact, right? But I want to work with batch mode. I doesn't want to work with interactive mode, right? I want to work with batch mode. File, just say file, new file. That's it. File, new file. Here itself we can write the code. Here itself we can run or execute the code. Okay, now just observe. Here itself I'm writing the code. Here x has 10, y has 10, addition, subtraction. Save it. So here itself we can run option is there. Can you see this run option here? Writing the code here itself, run option. Before you execute compulsory, we need to save it, right? Control S, right? I created a separate folder for this batch, right? Python 7 a.m. batch, right? Yes. run a run module. Check this. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20, right? Okay. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 10 into 10 by 20, right? Here itself we can write, here itself we can execute. Previously in the notepad you are writing, in command prompt you are executing, right? Write the code and say run here. Okay, fine. So I'll discuss about this various IDs of Python in the coming, once we are done with a little bit of content, right? Yes. Next is like entering into the basics of Python, like Python data types. Just I'll give introduction to this Python data types. See, every organization, if I talk about every organization use case has got data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Data represented using data types or variables. Operations using operations using functions. Data using data types or variables. Operations using functions. Just observe this diagram once, everyone. Any organization, if we take for example, just observe. Take the example of a bank. Bank, right? Bank consists of what? Customers and employees. Just observe this. Customers and employees. And employees. Customers has got a data and operations, right? It has got data and operations. Data in the sense like customer name, account number, balance 90,000. Okay, customer data, right? Okay. How to represent this? Using data types or variables, right? Data like customer name, account number, balance, address, all this using data types or variables. Operations, various operations like deposit operation, withdraw operation, transfer operation using functions. Using functions, right? Yes. Next, employees. Employees data and operations, right? Employees data and employees operations. Employee data and employee operations, right? Okay. Employee ID, employee name, designation, manager, salary. So this things like represented using data types or variables. Operations means like calculating tax, calculating like net salary, calculating tax, calculating net salary, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. So data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Operations, okay, using functions. To talk about any programming language, C or C++ or Java or Python, any programming language represents data using data types or variables, using data types or variables, right? Okay. On this data, you perform operations, right? You perform operations using function, using, okay, represents data using data types or variables, operations using functions. Okay. If you talk about other programming languages with Python, C or C++ or Java, right? Compared with Python, Python supports dynamic data types. Python supports dynamic data types. Observe here. In other programming, if you want to create some variables or if you want to define some variable like x as 10, compulsorily we are supposed to say int x equal to 10, y equal to 4.5. Compulsory we are supposed to say float y, z equal to hello, right? X z equal to hello, right? String. Compulsory we are supposed to define that data types. In Python, no need to define, right? Directly we can say x as 10, y equal to 4.5, z equal to hello, right? No need to define anything in Python. So here, what kind of variable x is means you are saying it is integer based on the data type defined. What kind of variable y is means it's float based on the data type defined. What kind of variable z is string type, right? Based on the data type defining, right? Yes. Type of here, what is the type of y here? There is a function called type function in Python. It returns the data type of y. What is the type of y? It's float type. Why it is float type? Because what value you have assigned to it, based upon the value assigned, the variable is going to get created dynamically here in Python. Type of X, integer type. String type. What based upon what, if you're assigning an integer value to it, then integer variable is going to get created dynamically. What value you are assigning, based on that, the variable gets created dynamically here in Python. Right? Okay. Okay. Here I'll be discussing some cases here, right? Okay. Case one, observe this case one, try to understand these things, what happens internally whenever you are defining some variables here. X equal to 10 in Python, X equal to 10 means internally one object is going to get created. Internally one object gets created with value 10. It's going to occupy some address, right? Physical memory location address. The address is returned to X. Just observe here what X is storing, what X stores. Don't say like X stores 10. X stores the address. Here three things you need to understand. Print X, whenever you say print X means prints the content at that address, prints the content at that address, right? Yes, prints the content at that address. That is what 10. Whenever you say print X, it goes to that address. At that address, what is the content? 10 it prints. If you want to print the address itself, where exactly it is stored, print address of X, ID of X. Returns the address, right? Address of X. Next, one more, like type, print a type of X. Type of X means it returns, prints the data type of X, prints the data type of X, right? Data type. Integer type, right? Yes. Print X for printing the content. ID of X, ID is the inbuilt function of Python for printing the address. Type is also inbuilt function of Python. Like to print the type, what type of variable it is. As you have assigned an integer value, it is integer type, right? Yes. Now, print X, address of X, type of X for printing the content, printing the address, printing the type, right? Observe this case two, everyone. Now see this case two once. I'm saying like X has 10, Y has 20. Now everyone try to answer how many objects are going to get created. So from here on, right, I want the sessions to be interactive, right? So for whatever I'm typing, you can just respond, right? Whether your answers are correct or wrong, keep responding either through voice or through chat panel. Now try to say how many objects will be created here. X is 10, Y is 20. Internally, how many objects gets created?
Two.
Two objects, right? Yes. Two objects are going to get created. X has 10. For 10, one object gets created with some address. The address is given to X. Y equal to 20, one more object with value 20 with some address, right? 1040 address is given. Now try to answer what is print X here. Print X. Everyone try to answer what is X? Print X. 10. Print 10. Content, right? Print ID of X.
1030.
103070.
103070. If I want one more function, type of x, to know the type of that
Int.
integer, because you have assigned integer value, so integer variable created, right? Yes. Yeah. Print y. If I say print y, what is that?
20.
20. ID of y, address of y,
10444090.
104090. Type of y, print type of y, right?
Integer.
Type of y is integer, right? So here, if you observe carefully, right? Okay. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects gets created with two different addresses. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects with the two different addresses are created, right? Yes. Understood, right, everyone? Any query in this? What happens internally when an object gets created? It's going to hold that value. It's going to occupy some address. The address is given to x. Now observe this case 3 here. Now try to answer x, y. How many objects here? Everyone try to answer. How many objects gets created?
Two objects.
Two object.
Everyone try to observe carefully here. Not two objects here. Only one object gets created here. Only one object. Observe, first x equal to 10. One object gets created. One object with value 10 with some address. It's going to have some address. This is fine. Before creating object for y, observe, before creating object for y, first it checks any object with value 10 is already available or not. If available, the same address will be given to y. Observe, x equal to 10, object gets created, but before creating object for y, it checks if any object with value 10 is already available or not. If available, the same address will be given to y. Otherwise, if not available, then object gets created. X is 10, y is 10, z is 10. How many objects?
One object.
Only one object. It address, don't think like three objects with value 10 gets created. No, only one object. The address is given to x, y, and z. Now, x is 10, y is 20, z is 30. How many objects?
Three objects.
Three objects in that case. If that means, what is your observation here? If the I'll show you all these things practically in the tomorrow session, right? These cases, what I'm discussing now, tomorrow's class, I'll be showing you practically. See the addresses, whether it will be different or same, right? X is 10, y is 10, z is 10, right? Only one object.
Sir, what if we delete X, sir?
If you're deleting x, okay. For example, if you're deleting x, if you're removing x, still the object available, still y and z are pointing to this, right? Still the object available, y and 10. Okay, there is a concept called reference count. It was 3. Reference count is 3 as of now. 3 x, y, and z are pointing to this. Whenever you are deleting x, reference count decreases to 2. Again, if you are removing y also, right, reference count becomes 1. Only z will be pointing to that. If you are removing the z also, right, reference count becomes 0. Whenever any object reference count becomes 0, right, any object reference count, then the object gets removed by the garbage collector. Later I discuss these things in that concept of garbage collector in brief, in depth, right? So understood, right? X is 10, y is 10, z is 10, only one object. Observe this case 4 here. Values are stored in the memory, right? Case 4. X equal to 10. Previously X and Y. Now I'm saying X has 10, X has 20. How many objects created here? Just I'll take 2 minutes more. X is 10 and X is 20. How many objects?
2 objects. No.
Yeah, 2 objects gets created. 2 objects. Observe here. 2 objects gets created. See, objects are created. Objects are created for values or variable names. For values, right? X is 10, Y, X is 20. 2 objects gets created. It is going to have some address. This address is given to X. 104090, right? Okay. Now that's fine. X is 10, X is 20, 2 objects. But whenever I say print X, right? Whenever I say print X, what is the X value it is going to print? 10 or 20 or both?
20.
10.
It always prints the latest value, right? 20. Previously X value 10. Now X is 20. It prints the latest value, right? Okay. What happens to the previous object? Whether it is available, not available, or gets removed or what? Okay. So I'll discuss that things practically in the tomorrow session. What happens to the previous object at 10? So 4 cases have you observed, right? Here, second, be in mute. Okay. All the 4 cases, right? First case, just X has 10. Its content, its address, and its time. Case 2. 2 different variables with 2 different values, then 2 different objects with 2 different addresses. 3. Third case. X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10. Only one object. Its address is given to X, Y, and Z. In the 4th case, always takes the latest value. Okay. I'll show you all these 4 cases practical in the tomorrow session, right? So I'll stop here for today. I hope you understood it. Today I was discussing about Python Software Foundation, PSF, Python versions, Python installation, execution modes, and Python data types and variables. Still we have got a lot of discussions, right? For the next, that is data types I'll be discussing for the next 4-5 days. Okay, fine. Okay. So tomorrow, right? Tomorrow it's okay. You can attend the session, everyone. But from day after tomorrow, the link is going to change, right? The link will be changing. Means those who got registered, those who got enrolled, they'll be getting that link, right? They'll be okay. And one more thing, hope everyone has got the videos of yesterday's session, right? You can check your Google Drives. The email IDs that you have provided while entering this meeting, right? Check that whatever mail ID you have given, to that mail ID, go enter your Google Drive. Within the Google Drive, just go and check shared with me. There will be an option called shared with me, right? Option. You can check it. You can see that yesterday's videos, right? Fine.
So this video will be for lifetime or it gets deleted after a certain period of time.
So these videos you can just after just it will go, you will be having the access up to 6 months, right? 6 months access it will be provided to you.
Okay.
Fine. So I'll show you all these 4 cases practical in tomorrow session. Any other queries, anyone, right, as part of today's session?
Sir, I am having one query.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, I just need a guidance from you. I am from financial background and I'm working. So how much Python is needed for me to make, because some companies are demanding Python in some of the profile.
Yes, yes, sir. I was saying not like today, if you see like in the software field, any software employee directly or indirectly is going to touch Python, right? So you're saying Python is used widely today in different environments and different domains, right? in data science, big data, in networking, in writing scripts, in AWS DevOps, writing automation scripts, in IoT, in robotics, in web applications creation. So Python is mostly or widely used, right? So we'll be discussing in brief, in depth about this Python. You'll be getting command on this Python, right? Starting from the basics, fundamentals to the advanced level, advanced application oriented way, right?
So means ki this course will be beneficial, or I have to do in advanced mode also.
No, this totally will be like getting the full command and Python with this course.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, what is the differences between Java and Python, sir?
So Java is only object oriented. See, 1 second. Java is please be in mute, ask your query and just go into mute everyone. Right? Yes. Java is only object oriented only. Yesterday I was discussing Python supports multiple features, hybrid features, like procedural oriented, object oriented programming, scripting, and modular. Java supports only this object oriented programming. Java supports only object oriented programming. It's object oriented. Without object oriented programming, you cannot develop applications. You cannot write scripts using Java. In Python, we can write many scripts, automation scripts in IoT, in AWS, or in robotics, scripting. And even for automations, Python is mostly preferred. Java is never used in these automations. In data science, in artificial intelligence, machine learning, right, implementation, Java is never preferred. And even in AWS DevOps, writing automation scripts, Java is not preferred. Okay. Python is mostly preferred as it is providing many there is no concept of modules in Python, in Java, right? In Python, it's providing nearly thousands of modules, right? For various domains, you can work with it. That's why for any domain, Python is preferred because of this modules concept support for every domain environment. So with object oriented, with like procedural oriented, and using scripting, using modular, we can develop many applications using Python. But Java, there is a restriction to the developers, and the programmers and developers are restricted to use only object oriented programming only. So mostly Java used for this web applications creations, the other things, but Python has got wide number of usage. But one thing I cannot say like always Python is much, that is as compared with Java. One thing is Java, one advantage what we see in Java is faster than Python. Java is faster than Python. And remaining all things, okay, Python, many applications can be created when wide usage of Python today because of its hybrid features. And one more thing, what is the one more limitation of Python? We can say one more limitation of Python is Python, you can develop all applications except one application. Python is very less used in mobile applications. Python is very less preferred in mobile applications. Java is mostly preferred in these mobile applications, right? Okay, that's the differences, right?
Sir, ఎన్ని నెలలు సార్ ఈ కోచింగ్?
Yes, it will go for 2.5 months.
2.5 months. సార్ కోర్ జావా అదే కోర్ పైథాన్ అడ్వాన్స్డ్ పైథాన్ ప్యారలల్ గా స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారా సార్?
So if anybody wants, right, I see 1 second. For Python core and Python advanced. If you want, if anybody wants to do it, you want like fast track, right? You can go with Python core and advanced in 2 batches, right? Multiple batches of Python are running, right? Anybody wants, you can just intimate me. You can just go parallelly also. After some 10 days or 15 days of completion of Python core, yes. Want to complete in 1.5 months or 1 month, right? Can do that also. Parallelly attending in multiple batches of Python.
టైమింగ్స్ ఏముంటాయి సార్? అంటే మాక్సిమం
Mornings are available, evenings, nights also available. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening, morning.
Okay, sir.
Fine. Okay.
In case we miss the class, recorded video will be provided or not?
Yes, every day you'll be getting the recorded video, right? So that's what I was saying. Check your Google Drives, everyone, with whatever email IDs. Can anyone please confirm whether you have received SPS video or not? Anyone?
Yes, very soon.
You got? Yes. You can check your Google Drive, share with me. Otherwise, even in the YouTube also you can check it. In YouTube, right? Python.
After enrolling the course, it will be provided.
So no. Already you got SPS video. You can check in your Google Drive. But for the first 3-4 sessions you'll be getting, but later after that, if you want to get, you are supposed to just get enrolled, right? You are after enrolling, right? You will be getting that daily notes. You will be getting videos. You will be getting, right, after enrollment of this. By paying the fees, we're getting registered with this course. You'll be getting that soft copy of this notes, the video, all these things, right? Yes. And tomorrow also, yes, Nikita, do we get tomorrow's session link? Yes, tomorrow also everyone can attend the session. It's a free session only. But the day after tomorrow, like you are supposed to, tomorrow you can attend everyone, right? But day after tomorrow, those who got enrolled or registered only, you'll be getting the link, right? Yes. Fine. So the sessions will be interactive sessions. You will be kept in unmuted status. If you've got any query, you can ask at any point of time. But the sessions will be like you are supposed to give response, interactive sessions.
Sir,
Yes.
is it okay to go core and advanced parallelly, like without thoroughly learning?
No, I'm not.
Learning.
Not see if you have got urgency, right? Some people they'll be living to US. Some people might be going to US, right? They have got less time to go with this, right? Such kind of KV, or if it doesn't have very short, you have got very short period to get update. Those people can, I'm just referring them, right? But if you have got time, you can go with this sequential, right?
Is that we have to pay extra for that, like, or this much amount?
No need of any extra amount, right? If you, for example, you can attend any of my batches. Once you are paying, right, you can attend any of my batches. Later, if you are missing, or later if you have got discontinued because of some reasons, later you can attend any of my batches once you got registered or enrolled, right? If you want,
so what you suggest, like if we have time and like if we want to fully satisfied, so what you suggest, like go with along core and advanced, or
go with core and advanced only. Explore the things the daily topic. You just explore it. If it doesn't have time, if you want urgency, if you've got urgency, right, I'd say that you will understand that also, but go with sequential manner, topic wise, right? After 4 or 5.
if you have time, like go with sequence, so that is very better.
Yes, if it doesn't have time, it's very urgent, right? You can go with parallel also, right?
Sir, thank you.
సార్ అంటే 2.5 months వరకే వ్యాలిడిటీ ఉంటుందా సార్? తర్వాత మళ్ళీ అటెండ్ అవ్వాలనుకుంటే మళ్ళీ ఫీ కట్టి అటెండ్ అవ్వాలా సార్?
No, one second. We'll go with for example, due to some health issues or due to some other problems, we're unable to attend, right? As you can just intimate us so that you can attend any of my batch later also.
అంటే ఇంతవరకు వ్యాలిడిటీ అని ఉండదా సార్? అంటే 1 year 6 months ఇట్లా ఉంటది కదా కొన్నిటికి.
6 months.
6 months సార్?
Yes. Okay, that's what I was saying. If you got enrolled, right, you can attend any of my batches later. Okay, fine. Okay, so I'm stopping here for today. We'll meet tomorrow, same time with the same link to see more on this Python, right? Yes. Thank you all. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.